Ren Hian had fought in countless battles across distant worlds, survived ambushes that would have torn most soldiers apart, and endured environments no human was meant to tolerate. Yet nothing in his combat record had prepared him for the sight of a palace that floated above a sea of luminous flora, its energy streams pulsing like a heartbeat, alive and aware. The shuttle's doors hissed open, and he stepped onto the crystalline landing platform. He tried to keep his usual calm demeanor. It slipped immediately. A slender figure approached, bowing with a grace that made Ren feel like a child stumbling into an adult's lecture. "Welcome, instructor," the servant whispered, almost reverently. Ren nodded, pretending he understood. Then, he tripped over nothing at all. The palace guards behind him suppressed smiles, their armor humming faintly with energy. Inside, the corridors shimmered and shifted subtly with every step, a labyrinth designed to sense intent and adjust accordingly. Ren kept his head high, trying not to look lost. A part of him suspected the palace could tell his thoughts. When they arrived at the training courtyard, Ren's eyes fell on the princess. Kada. She stood with her back straight, silver hair braided intricately, her blue skin glowing softly in the filtered light. Her ears, long and elegant, flicked in his direction like radar. "You are the human instructor?" she asked, her voice calm but sharp, as though verifying a rumor rather than greeting him. Ren bowed, or attempted to. His movement looked like a dodge. "Ren Hian, Your Highness. Here to train you in human tactical systems." She tilted her head, scrutinizing him. Ren could feel the weight of her gaze, precise and unwavering. "We shall see," she said, stepping past him with a grace that seemed almost inhuman. Training begins. The first session was chaos. Kada moved like water and lightning combined, dismantling every maneuver Ren tried to teach. When he demonstrated a basic defensive stance, she corrected his foot placement with an almost tender touch before flipping him onto his back with startling ease. The guards clapped politely, their amusement hidden behind professional masks. Ren lay on the glowing courtyard floor, staring up at the sky above the palace, which seemed to shift colors with every pulse of energy. Kada extended a hand. "You hesitated," she observed. "Only when being hurled into new environments," he replied. She blinked, unamused, then softened when she realized he meant it as humor. "You are strange," she said, "but not unpleasant." By the end of the first week, Ren had adjusted a defensive maneuver to accommodate her unique physiology. Kada tried it, executed it flawlessly, and nodded ever so slightly. That small approval felt more precious than a medal. But the palace whispers persisted. The servants muttered "Groom" under their breath. Kada's ears twitched, but she ignored it, a practiced royal mask firmly in place. Ren, on the other hand, nearly collided with an energy pillar. The dance of movement. The training escalated. Kada introduced gravity modulation fields, forcing Ren to fight while floating mid-air. Every strike, every dodge, required perfect timing and instinct. Ren flailed at first, spinning helplessly like a decorative mobile. Kada reached out, steadying him with surprising strength. "For once, trust me," she said softly. "Most humans fear our gravity fields." "I fear many things," Ren admitted. "This is just higher on the list than usual." She released him, allowing him to drift slightly, and resumed her stance. "Stop thinking of falling. Think of landing." Weeks passed. Ren's movements began to sync with hers, flowing naturally around her strikes, anticipating her direction. The palace seemed to shift subtly to accommodate their rhythm. Guards stopped gasping, whispers of impossible and miracles circulating instead. During breaks, Kada asked about Earth. Oceans fascinated her, squirrels bewildered her, and the concept of forks outraged her. Ren tried to defend human utensils and eventually gave up. Kada's laughter, musical and unrestrained, became a sound he found himself craving. The first test. Then came the demonstration. Nobles filled the balconies, ceremonial energy streams overhead. The chamber itself became a reactive battlefield, responding to their movements. Ren's heart pounded. "We perform as one," Kada said softly. "I'm not afraid of them," Ren said. "I'm afraid of tripping." "If you fall," she replied, "I will fall with you." They moved together through the air, their combined tactics blending human precision with Athethran energy techniques. Each step, each strike, built upon the other, culminating in a synchronized counter to a destabilizing gravity surge. They landed simultaneously, the chamber's reactive floor calming into a deep blue glow. Silence fell, followed by applause so loud it rattled the walls. "You did not fall," Carter observed. "I wanted to, just to spite that guard," he admitted. She laughed, soft and warm. Something inside Ren shifted, a quiet certainty growing in his chest. The Queen's audience. Queen Sarilith summoned him afterward. The chamber was vast, crystal discs floating gently, illuminating her throne of living luminescent stone. She regarded him with the calm authority of someone who had seen centuries pass. "You have been instructing my daughter," she began. "Reports indicate progress." Ren blinked. "She is exceptional, Your Majesty." "Yes," the Queen said, "and she grows steadier with you nearby. If she chooses, even unconsciously, you must not take it lightly." Ren's chest tightened. "I respect the princess deeply. I will not act carelessly." Her eyes, sharp and ancient, softened slightly. "And yet, you do not wish to step back." "I do not," he admitted. "Be wise," she warned, before returning to her throne. Growing closer, Carter met him back in the courtyard, her posture relaxed but alert. "You met with my mother," she said. "Your heartbeat gave it away," he replied. She regarded him thoughtfully. "Do you understand bonding among humans?" Ren hesitated. "Somewhat. Dinner, conversation, not usually combat drills." Her ears flicked in amusement. "Your people are strange," she said. He smiled. "And yet, I feel less strange when with you." A quiet moment passed. Carter extended her hand, brushing his forearm with delicate fingers. "We will not rush. We will train, grow, and decide our path with understanding, not expectation." The final weeks. Weeks of training followed, quiet and intense. Their synchronization reached perfection. The reactive floors of the palace barely rippled beneath them. The palace seemed to hold its breath as Ren and Carter trained, moving as if they were two halves of a single entity. Guards whispered, nobles speculated, but Ren ignored them. Only Carter's presence mattered. The final demonstration arrived, under a sky painted with shimmering energy streams. The gravity field shifted violently, testing their bond and reflexes. Every move was instinctive. Ren anticipated Carter's leaps, her strikes, her landings. And when they executed the final stance together, the chamber held a stillness so complete it seemed the palace itself had paused to watch. Applause erupted. Queen Sarilith approached afterward. "You have proven compatibility," she said. Carter countered, "It is not for the court to decide, Mother." "You have become part of this palace's rhythm," the Queen acknowledged. "Whether formalized or not, your bond inspires strength." Ren's knees shook. He had never felt so human, so alive, so aware of another person in his life. The choice. On the balcony overlooking the glowing gardens, Carter spoke softly. "Your assignment ends tomorrow." Ren nodded. "I know. I fear choosing," she admitted. "But so do I." Ren's chest tightened. "I do not want distance. Not because of duty, or stories, or expectations. Because of you. Because of who I've become here, with you." Her smile was luminous. "Then stay," she whispered. He extended his hand. Not ceremonial, not forced, simply human. She placed her hand in his, her long ears tilting in quiet contentment. The palace shifted subtly beneath them, aligning itself to their rhythm. The whispers of Groom floated faintly from distant corridors, and this time, Ren laughed instead of panicking. The future was uncertain, complicated, full of politics and expectations, but it was also full of possibility. And for the first time, Ren felt not like a visitor or outsider, but like someone who belonged. Side by side, human and starborn princess, they chose their path, not because destiny demanded it, but because they wanted it. And for Ren Hian, that choice felt like the beginning of everything. The morning sun shimmered over the floating palace, casting long shadows across the glowing gardens. Ren Hian awoke with a strange mix of anticipation and dread. His assignment had officially ended yesterday, yet the thought of leaving Kada, of leaving a life that had begun to feel like his own, was unbearable. As he dressed, a royal attendant arrived, bowing with subtle urgency. "Princess Kada requests your presence immediately. And, there are developments you should know about." Ren frowned. "Developments?" The attendant hesitated, then lowered their voice. "Unrest has been detected near the eastern energy field. Reports suggest sabotage attempts." Ren's heart thudded. He had trained for combat, for battlefield chaos, but palace intrigue? That was a far more dangerous, unpredictable theater. The eastern fields. Within minutes, Ren and Kada flew across the palace on hover platforms, the gardens and corridors stretching beneath them like rivers of light. Kada's eyes were sharp, her long ears angled forward. The energy fields in the eastern sector flickered sporadically, as though struggling to maintain stability. 3 cloaked figures moved with unnatural stealth among the delicate conduits. As soon as they spotted Ren and Kada, they lunged, weapons glowing with volatile energy. Ren instinctively stepped in front of Kada, pulling her back, but she wasn't deterred. "Trust me," she said, and launched forward, a blade of concentrated light slicing through the first assailant's weapon. Ren followed with precision, using human hand-to-hand techniques refined over weeks of training, redirecting energy strikes, throwing one saboteur into a containment barrier, and knocking another unconscious with a well-timed counter. Kada's movements were breathtaking, a blur of silver braid and focused energy, her strikes precise and deadly. Yet for the first time, Ren noticed hesitation in her eyes, a fraction of uncertainty, which he instinctively covered by positioning himself strategically, deflecting attacks that might have landed. The saboteurs were skilled but unprepared for a human-Athethran duo acting in perfect sync. Within minutes, the intruders were disarmed and restrained in gravitalock fields. Kada's sharp eyes scanned the surroundings, catching a faint signal on the energy monitors. "They weren't acting alone," she murmured. "Someone inside the palace is feeding them information." Ren's stomach tightened. "Inside? You mean, court spies?" "Perhaps. Or worse," she said, her voice hardening. "Someone who wants to test us, or weaken my mother's rule." The Queen's warning. Ren and Kada escorted the captured saboteurs to the throne room, where Queen Sarilith awaited. The Queen's gaze was steady, her long ears adorned with ceremonial rings that glimmered faintly. "You have proven your combat synergy," the Queen began. "Yet these attacks reveal vulnerabilities. External forces are testing our defenses, yes, but trust is your true battlefield. Someone among my advisors may be compromised." Ren's mind raced. Weeks ago, the palace whispers of him being a groom seemed trivial. Now, every murmur could conceal real threats. "You must stay vigilant," the Queen continued. "Kada, your bond with this human is more than tactical, it is emotional. Do not let attachments cloud judgment, yet do not reject the strength it brings." Kada's ears flicked, a sign of acknowledgement. Ren noticed a hint of tension in her posture, rare for someone so disciplined. He realized that the palace's labyrinthine politics were far more complex than any battlefield he had faced. Secrets in the archives. Later that day, Kada led Ren to a hidden section of the palace archives, walls lined with floating crystals that contained historical records, tactical maps, and forbidden knowledge. "I need you to understand our vulnerabilities," she said. "These intruders were not random. Someone knows our movement patterns, our training schedules, even our weaknesses in the gravity modulation chambers." Ren scanned the crystalline displays. Energy schematics, security reports, and planetary communications were scattered like a puzzle awaiting assembly. "I've seen your kind improvise," Kada said. "But improvisation is not enough. We need strategy, human thinking paired with Athethran precision." Together, they pored over the records, formulating defensive protocols and contingency plans. Ren suggested subtle alterations to patrol schedules, integrating unpredictable human tactics, while Kada introduced energy field modifications and advanced countermeasures. By nightfall, a plan was in place. But even as they prepared, Ren noticed the way Kada lingered near him, her silver braid brushing his arm, her long ears occasionally tilting toward him in concern. Amid strategy and training, unspoken emotions began to intertwine with duty. A midnight ambush. Hours later, as the palace slept, Ren awoke to the faint hum of destabilizing energy. The gravity fields in the corridors were flickering. Carter had sensed it too. They moved silently, stepping into a hallway lined with energy conduits. Shadows moved unnaturally. A team of saboteurs had returned, this time armed with advanced disruptors capable of destabilizing the palace's core energy. Ren and Carter engaged immediately. Carter's blade of concentrated light danced in arcs, deflecting attacks, while Ren's grounded human combat style redirected the momentum of multiple opponents. One saboteur activated a gravitic destabilizer, sending nearby furniture, statues, and energy pillars floating violently. Ren lunged, tackling the device with all his strength, preventing catastrophic damage. Carter moved alongside him, severing power conduits with deadly precision. Amid the chaos, Ren realized that their synchronized training was now instinctive. He anticipated Carter's movements before she even executed them, their actions fluid, almost organic. Together, they neutralized the threat, binding the intruders in containment fields suspended mid-air. Carter's eyes softened as she looked at him. "You saved me," she said quietly. Ren shook his head. "We saved each other." The hidden traitor. After the ambush, the palace council convened in secrecy. Queen Saralitha's gaze swept across the advisors, scrutinizing every subtle gesture. "We believe the intruders are receiving information from within," she said. "The palace must be secured. Ren, Carter, your presence may prevent further breaches, but we must find the source." Ren's mind worked rapidly. Over the past weeks, he had observed subtle anomalies: an advisor who lingered near the archives longer than necessary, another who avoided the courtyard when he and Carter trained. With Carter's approval, he discreetly monitored communications and movement patterns, tracing the energy fluctuations to a secluded chamber deep within the palace. There, he confronted the advisor responsible, a man who had outwardly been loyal but whose secret dealings had nearly destroyed the palace's defenses. "Why?" Ren demanded, restraining the man with non-lethal force. "For power," the traitor hissed. "The Queen's reforms weaken our traditions. I will restore the old order, even if it means inviting war from outsiders." Carter stepped forward, her blade glowing faintly. "Your ambition ends here." Ren glanced at her, understanding her subtle signal. Together, they subdued the traitor, ensuring he could no longer threaten the palace. The moment of truth. Weeks of tension, combat, and palace intrigue culminated in a moment of quiet. Ren and Carter stood on the balcony overlooking the glowing gardens, the energy streams casting multicolored reflections on their faces. "You've changed the rhythm of this palace," Carter said softly. "Not just in combat, but in trust, in bond." Ren swallowed. "I didn't come here to change anything. I came to teach. But I didn't expect to belong." "You do belong," she replied. Her long ears tilted forward, signaling sincerity. "Even if the court whispers, even if politics shift like the energy fields, you are here. And your presence matters." Ren reached for her hand. Carter didn't hesitate. Their fingers intertwined, simple, human, grounding. "For now," she said, "we focus on tomorrow. We strengthen what we can control, and we face what we cannot, together." Ren nodded, feeling a rare peace in the midst of palace chaos. Together. A new challenge. Just as they stood there, the palace sensors flared briefly. A signal unlike any they had encountered pulsed through the energy grids. It was subtle, hidden, almost imperceptible. Yet Carter's eyes narrowed immediately. "Ren, something is approaching," she said. "Not saboteurs. Something older. Something powerful." Ren's pulse quickened. "You mean, an outside threat?" "No," Carter said. Her voice was firm. "Something that predates the palace itself. Something that even we might not fully understand." For the first time, Ren realized that their training, their bond, and their victories had prepared them for only one type of challenge. The next test would demand more than skill or instinct. It would require trust, courage, and unity against forces that could reshape the galaxy. They exchanged a glance, a silent agreement. Whatever awaited, they would face it together. And in that quiet, luminous balcony, with the palace alive beneath their feet, Ren understood that this was only the beginning. Epilogue. The bond strengthens. The palace resumed its rhythm, corridors shifting, guards watching, whispers of Groom echoing faintly. Yet Ren no longer feared them. With Carter by his side, he had found a place, a purpose, and an unexpected connection that transcended worlds. As the floating palace hovered over the luminescent sea, Ren realized that no battlefield, no alien planet, and no political intrigue could intimidate him as much as the thought of facing life without her. The galaxy was wide, threats were numerous, and mysteries waited beyond the stars. But with trust forged in combat, and a bond tempered by shared danger, the human instructor and the starborn princess were ready. And together, they would write the next chapter of their story. One of courage, unity, and love that defied planets, politics, and prophecy.